Hi, welcome back to Susan's Kitchen Corner, and on this episode we're going to be making polenta. Polenta is one of these dishes that it's a little challenging, and it's going to be like, what the heck have I got myself into? Why am I doing this? Don't look at it like that. It is easy, it is challenging, and it's going to be looking like you're going to be murdering scrambled eggs. Do not make a whole batch. I'm making a half batch. Half batches are easy to control. If you make a whole batch, you're going to be wishing you were that's a tongue twister. You're going to be wishing you were in the kitchen with it. So we're going to need about 1 1/4 cup polenta. And what polenta is I should have left it out, which I didn't. It is cornmeal. That's all it is. So that's what this is made from. And you're going to need, which I already have down here, boiling 3 1/4 cup water. So let's look down. And what we're going to do is you also need handy dandy mixer, whisk, a wooden spoon, a glass pie dish, or any other kind of pie. Doesn't have to be glass, but anything that you can put your polenta in and spread it out. But make sure when the polenta is done, you want to wet this down. So go to the sink and rinse it out. And then you're going to need a plastic bag like this one, and make sure that the print is not facing down, that you're going to have your store imprinted on your food. Okay, let's get started. So we got the boiling water. Now, before I put this in, you want to whisk it and put it in, but make sure after it's all in, you turn it down to low, because you don't want to leave this on boiling. So this is how it goes. So 1 1/4 cup polenta. Now whisk. Gently add, and when you're whisking, you're breaking up the lumps. And here we got it all in. Keep on whisking, and it's starting to get really thick now. This is when we want to change over. So take your whisk, put it over here, and be careful. So you're going to stir it with a spoon. At first it's going to be really easy, and then it's going to get really difficult. Be very, very careful with this. Hot polenta on your skin is not fun at all, and it will spit and it will spatter, and so it's down to low now, and just the reason you want to keep on stirring it is because you don't want it to land on your skin. This is kind of a difficult thing to make, but just keep on stirring it. And one thing I like to do is let the paddle do the stirring. Just kind of write it around the edges. This is what I like to do. This way your arm isn't doing all the work. You just think of it like this. You're the witch in the kitchen, or maybe not a witch, maybe you're a sorceress, and you're stirring your pot. You're adding things into it like bat eye, and so that's the kind of stirring I'm getting. So because when you're doing this, you're holding on, it's up here, and it's hurting. It's after a while your arm gets all worn out. So just see how it's writing on the edge of the pot. Kind of like a fun way to stir stuff. Don't forget the middle. Get the middle every once in a while. And then you want to have a spatula scrape down the sides every once in a while. So let's get back to our stirring. It doesn't have to be perfect, but now see, this really does look like some sort of what you call scrambled eggs gone wrong. But again, you can stir it the way if you have a short handle, actually short handles are better. Like, see, this one's a lot shorter. I should have used this one, but I didn't. But you can't get that nice, cauldron action going on there. And again, you don't have to do this. It's just me being, because sometimes in the bigger batches of polenta, you have to stir it for about 25 minutes. And 25 minutes of going around in a circle like this is not fun. So this is why I have adapted my cauldron stirring. And it's going to get on the walls. And okay, polenta is something you gotta watch the consistency, and I'm sure if you're cooking along with me, it's thick, but we want it to be thicker. We want it to be thick as possible. Gonna scrape down the edges. And there's one thing with gas stoves that when cooking polenta, when it's close to being done, it will pull away from the sides of the pan. Not so with gas. Gas, you have to, it's a little bit trickier. But then again, that's my experience. If you don't like my cauldron stirring, I guess you don't have to do it. You can do it like the normal way. But it's just all about just taking your time. The reason you keep on stirring it is so it doesn't burn. You just want a thick, thick mass. Scrape off the edges real fast. And what's really nice to do, if you have some maple syrup, after this is all done, take a spoonful out, put some maple syrup on it. Oh God, is it really good. Just as is. And I'm sure you can see it's going over the edges a little bit. Now imagine when you do a full-on batch and this thing is full, it gets really messy, and that's the reason I recommend you do a half batch. Full batch, no. Half batch, yes. And when you stir it, you'll be able to see it pull away from the bottom. Let's see how it's doing. It's a, you can say this is a ribbed sticker, because look at this, it's just all goopy. I didn't turn this off, did I? Nope. With electric, this stuff cooks a lot faster, and it's a lot even consistency. But with gas, you do what you gotta do. It's just going to get goopier and goopier. That's what you want. Now I'm doing it to now see, yeah, if you were doing this, stirring like this the whole time, oh my God, your arm's going to fall off. If you want to do it that way, that's okay. You know, everyone has their own technique and what they like. But for me, this is an arm saver. Okay, well, let's look at this. I think this is about done. Now if you've gone along with me, it's about 9 minutes into it. from, I guess, 8 if you don't want to leave out my talking in the beginning. So it's not very long. Now it looks like, oh my god. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn it off now. And we're going to come over here with our Pyrex plate, whatever kind of plate we want to use. Rinse it out with water. Drain it off. That cools the plate. And now we're going to put this into the dish. I'm going to slop it in there. Slop. I mean, this stuff's like, you're like looking at this and going, what the hell did I just create? It looks like something out of a one of those movies where they're on this island and this is all they can eat. It looks awful. It really does. It looks like it's gonna move off your plate. But believe me, it is good. And you're gonna want to put this in water right away. So just fill it up, because that stuff is, again, sushi rice, polenta, and a few other things. You just don't want to let that dry. Okay, here comes the plastic bag part. Okay, so what I want to do, now remember, this is hot. Put it on, and we're going to squish it down. Now, if you don't want to squish it down because it's too hot, you can get the back of a glass and just kind of work it until it fills the whole. Don't press too hard. We're not pressing to go all the way. We're just pressing lightly. So press it around in a circle until it fills up. Look at it. Until it's all nice and filled up the dish. And then when you think it's about right, well, it worked last time. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. And again, okay, it doesn't look pretty. It's not all perfectly even, but it gets it into a area where once this is cool, you're gonna want to let this rest cool down for about maybe half hour. Make sure it's all cool, because you don't want to put this in the refrigerator. Put it in the refrigerator, and then think of it as, I mean, you can cut this any which way you want. You can cut it into squares. You can cut the squares into diamonds. You can take a cookie cutter if you want, and you can press out shapes. This isn't a really big batch, and you're not going to be able to do a lot of shapes. But if you make if you make 2 batches separate, one after the other, and then add them together, then I'm sure you can get a bigger space. But okay, so here we go. It's hot. Put it down. Let's taste this. Make sure it's right consistency. Take a little bit out of the side here. Mmm. Delicious. Yes. Mmm. And then you can fry this up. You can, actually I'm running out of time, so toodles.